Yes, yes, yes. Guess who's here? Thank you, everybody. It's me. My name is Mal Burns. Mal is one word, Burns is another word. But you have to squash me because I'm on the web. I'm on the internet, the World Wide Fiddle, or whatever, right? Twitter.com/MALBURNS, all one word squash. That's where you can find me. That's where you can find the links that I'll be talking about mostly. And if you're really desperate to try another feed, you can go to twitter.com/MetaWorldNews. Again, two words squashed into one. And you never know, there might be something there. It's a bit more sparse than the main feed. What is not sparse is this show. I've got all the bells and whistles running this week. I've got videos, I've got snapshots, I've got web pages, and I've got embedded videos. I've got the whole works really. Now you're wondering what the hell you've just tuned into, aren't you? This is actually Metaworld News, and we're recording this, and therefore we're featuring news headlines for the week ending 14th of November. It's the week ending 14th of November because we come on air weekly, if that makes sense. If we go to FC Daily, I don't know what we'll call it for the 3 days ending. Anyway, we're not planning to do that, so forget it for now. Rabbit hole already, you say? Yeah, typical, isn't it? Typical. Okay, well, comes from the side of me where I'm actually joined by my regular colleague here, James Atlloud. Welcome, James.
Oh, well, thank you, Mal. It's great to be here. I got a different shirt today. I don't know
You
if
know,
you've noticed.
I was just going to comment on that.
Yeah,
When you arrived in the room here, I was already sitting down and I saw the usual two of you at the back, actually.
right, right,
And it's very dark there. And all I could see were these two shining shirts.
right.
And I thought, oh, well, that's James, obviously. Invisible man in two bright t-shirts.
Yep.
But I don't know, they look silvery and everything else. And now you've actually come up here and taken your seat. They look totally different.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm
Anyway, carry on. Where did it come from?
yeah, yeah. On the stage, it's the lights are too bright, so it's
Yeah,
the shirt
exactly.
doesn't really show up. But what's on the shirt? This is a video screen. And I don't know if you can see in the audience, but the shirt is the same image that's on our in-studio screens, just wrapped
Oh,
around.
oh my goodness gracious me. How perfect.
Yeah, so
I mean, yeah. Oh, I've got to get one of those.
yeah,
Yeah, you can't really tell, but I guess when we got things that are moving and stuff, it will show up a bit differently.
right, right.
That's nifty. So it's like a sort of a t-shirt underneath and then a sort of a jacket on top with
Yeah,
the
yep,
movie on it. How
yep.
amazing.
So
So
very cool. So
it just picks up the video of whatever region you're on.
right, yeah. So for example, we have our in-world screens, and I'll go back to
Yeah.
the shot of the screen and the avatar in the audience, and so it's just taking that stream feed from your shared desktop and it's putting it on the shirt. So this is a new store I haven't been to before in Sans, our Robin store, and
Yeah.
I just thought a shirt that shows what's happening on screen. What could be more appropriate to a TV show?
Yeah, I remember back in the old days of Second Life, I had a T-shirt that um, did a similar sort of thing, but it was before they had media on the prim.
Yeah.
So it used to pick up the QuickTime video
Okay.
from
Yep.
the web
Right.
and then display it, contoured around the T-shirt. And it was rudimentary, but what I did is I loaded sort of a video mostly that was probably not that much longer than the average, GIF,
Hmm.
but it was just psychedelic. So it was like a psychedelic T-shirt that was just constantly moving.
Right. Right.
If you imagine a sort of a rich coloured tie-dye sort of T-shirt that
Yep.
somehow finds the ability to move. It's interesting, but of course, real world copied it. Well, they didn't really, but a few years ago,
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember
they
that.
must be around anywhere now. But I don't know what they do to the fabric. But I first saw it on an Australian. It was over here, and it was a T-shirt that changed colour depending on the weather.
Ah. Okay.
So I forget how exactly how it works, but it ranged from within maybe it was to do more with light because it wasn't constantly moving unless something was moving to make it move, if you see what I mean. But it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
very odd, and I guess now all you got to do is have a video fabric and somehow code in the smart T-shirt to um, go on Wi-Fi or sell and pick up a
Right, right.
video somewhere and play it.
Yep, yep.
Can you imagine that? I mean, that's what I don't think that's one thing that Zuckerberg has thought of yet. It's the idea of clothing, which where the chest on your T-shirt is a walking advert. I mean, we've got plenty of those already. It's the same with baseball caps.
Yeah.
But if you imagine they're actually moving, so that you get a 2-minute video ad on somebody's T-shirt, and you then curse them and tell them you don't want to ever see them again
Okay.
because you don't approve of what they're advertising.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. God, the whole world is getting metaversal, if that's the word.
Isn't it though?
Okay, now, for those of you at home, I should also mention that James here is fiddling with knobs. Not being impolite, but actually he's twiddling with the things that change camera angles for me and also broadcast my desktop to you and videos and all sorts of other things. So he's sort of controlling all that sound and vision stuff while we're on air. So he doesn't actually teach much, speak much. when he gets busy, because obviously he's busy fiddling with the knobs, etc., etc. So we're about to sort of get on with it. As I said, my name is Mal Burns, and this is Metaworld News with the news headlines for the 14th of November of the grand old year 2021. Not many years to go now. I don't know. I'm always
Oh.
forgetting the date. I'm always forgetting the date and going back in time, but one wonders, sort of
Mm-hmm.
last 2 weeks have been what I've now. I found an article at the Guardian this morning that summed it up really. Basically, cop out. Yeah,
Hmm.
cop out. Cop and, um, what did I tweet? Oh yeah, um, drop in, cop out, as a play on the old beef art number.
Okay.
Turn on, tune in, drop out. Yeah, so yeah, turn on. No, so yeah, tune. Oh, I don't know. Forget it. Right. Okay. Not a healthy sign for the dates moving forward, but we can always put the clocks back.
Yeah.
We can pretend. We can pretend we've got a hour earlier than winter time and an hour earlier. We can basically fuck around with our time, can't we? If we so we don't know what we're doing. Okay. Let's play around here now. The biggest thing this week probably was the Augmented World Expo in the American one, which was in, well, San Jose or somewhere near San Francisco anyway, or near LA, somewhere, somewhere over there.
Yep.
I actually had a virtual ticket to attend. I'm not going to travel over there. And bit disappointing for two reasons. There was some great stuff there, I'll come to in a sec. Um, what was disappointing was the virtual ticket only ever took you as far as the main stage, whereas a load of talks and stuff were happening. Apparently, they were being filmed, but you couldn't actually see them either in the virtual room, which had a screen in it,
Hmm.
or in the main auditorium, or in the main auditorium, which had the regular video feed. So basically, if somebody wasn't doing a keynote on the main stage, I didn't get to see it. I did get to I did get to see all the other people around, but I could actually text somebody who was at the conference, for example, and they could text me back, but I couldn't necessarily join them exactly where they were, as it were. So I missed to shoot's a presentation because she was on one of the side things, as was one of the ones that had Philip Rosedale on it, and whatever. And I don't have a clue whether they actually filmed them or not. I filmed all the stuff I was at, but I think most of it will come up on YouTube in a couple of weeks. They tend to hold back access for people with tickets, and then make them public later. Anyway, I do have a few comments and highlights of that as we go along. What was the other disappointment? Forgotten. Yeah, that was the virtual ticket business. Oh yeah, I mean, I remember at one point. I was in there. Oh yes, it was on. I think it was on Tuesday, the first day. And that's the day my colleague Dr. Fran here in Sansar, she hosts an hourly sort of open mic, discussion group. And I texted her, in Discord saying I couldn't make it because I was in filming in Thingy World. Or in a war, right? And I just made some witty comment about less than awed by, and she came back to me and said, "Yeah, I didn't bother cancelling the show here. I was just going ahead with it. They're just talking about stuff we talked about 10 years ago or 20 years ago, back in Second Life and places." And she was so right. The real disappointment was that these people have flown in from around the world to give presentations, either on the main stage or side stages. But almost all the conversation was the same conversations we had back when the only thing around was Second Life or maybe a bit of Open Sim. What is the value of the way an avatar looks? Avatar relations and engagement. All these things that the people there seem to think were new issues that will suddenly have to be considered, whereas we've been considering them for 2 decades. That's the Rosedale and Second Life, largely. It's all been done before. The issues concerning, virtual worlds have already been fashed out. I mean, I'm not saying they're fashed out to the point of view of legislation or anything like that, but the conversation is not new. And what I think was more disturbing was that the people who were attending all were not newbies to this business as a rule. There were people in the business, so to speak, or engaged already. And you would have thought that they'd run out of things to say on some of those elementary fronts, and that they'd have had a bit more to say on serious fronts. But sadly, no. Now, one of the people on the main stage was you'll know him from our tweets every week, was Charlie Fink, who actually I'll come back to him in a short while, but he actually used the word metaverse, and it seems so simple, but within a couple of seconds he was talking about it like art. There's art with a capital A and there's art with a small a. And to him, all this talk about metaverse and metaverses and everything else from Zuckerberg down is simply small m's, Nobody knows how the big one singularity of an M will ever be, but these small m's, they're just popping up like flies. Fruit flies, in fact, everywhere. So he actually took a tack while he was talking and referring to small m's and big m's. He would say, "Well, this one is small m is this one small m," etc., etc. So that I thought was a nifty way of getting around the problem of having to mention the dreaded M word. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to start off with a bit of amusement here. I got 2 videos coming up. The first one is a drastic edit of the Zuckerberg himself talking about Connect, but the second one is a very interesting sort of announcement video about a new virtual world from Iceland. Yes, get this.
Hey, and welcome to Connect. Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse. Metaverse. In the metaverse. Metaverse. Business.
Oops, sorry. Okay, slight hiccup here. Where are we? We need to go to the right place for this one. Here we are.
welcome to this very natural setting. Today, I want to talk about a revolutionary approach on how to connect our world without being super weird. Some said it's not possible. Some said it's out of reach. To them, we say it's already here. Seriously, look, it's right here. And what do we call this not-so-new chapter in human connectivity? The Iceland Verse. Enhanced, actual reality without silly-looking headsets. In our open-world experience, everything is real. And has been for millions of years. It's completely immersive, with water that's wet. With humans to connect with. You're human, right? Isn't she funny? In the Iceland verse, there's real moss you can look at, but please don't touch. It's very delicate. Skies you can see with your eyeballs. Volcanic rocks you can caress. Really big geysers you can observe from a safe distance. Birds you can watch. They're really cute, but a bit stupid. Waterfalls you can stand near, like this one, that one, this one, that one, and even this one. Horses you can ride, with hair you can touch. The Iceland verse is a world with possibilities so endless, they'll be here forever. So join us today, or tomorrow, or whenever. We are really easygoing. Now, please enjoy our logo.
Well, one of the most amusing things I found a week. It's gone very viral now, so some of you may have seen it before, but it's
It was funny.
yeah. I'm glad you like it, folks. Okay, moving on to some still pictures. I think here, right. This is a shot from the broadcast actually of Charlie Fink. From Week of Exile, etc., on stage giving his presentation. And as I said, he adopted this reference to the small M's and occasionally the big M. And he near the end, he actually brought up this sort of semi-autobiographical side to see things I know are true, and that is technology succeeds when it makes what we're already doing better, cheaper, and faster. People are the killer app, and we overestimate the short term and underestimate the long term. So that's pretty nice and concise. You know, he didn't go on to another slide that says part two, part three of things he knows are true. That's it. And you know, sort of when he was speaking it out, you know, he made it sound a bit, you know, profound by going off onto the reasoning. But yeah, I thought that was rather kind of good. As I say, fun and games. This was at all basically. Oh right, I'm going to move on to. Oh well, actually, first of all, a session I didn't get to. I think Joanna, what's her name, is there. If you can see where my mouse is moving, which yes you can. That chap there is the Scar Ghost, Anthony Vitello. And there is Charlie Fink. And actually, Philip Rosedale with a rather odd expression on his face. It looks like he's pulled down his mask and just realised he's on camera or something. But anyway, that was a sort of one of the many group shots there. Here is the Scarred Ghost. Of course, you'll know him because we were always going on again. He's the one on the right. I mean, every picture I saw of him at this thing, the guy looked like he was a kid in a toy box, you know. He's super excited. He's with Ori Umbar there, who, of course, was the Compare host. He's one of the co-founders of the All Conference itself. And he did an actual wonderful intro to the first thing because he came on and it was only cardboard, but basically he had strapped on a face mask which you couldn't see behind. You couldn't see his bald head sticking out the top or anything like that, or his ears. And it was Max Headroom. Anybody remember Max Headroom?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So he talked for about 5 minutes or something, doing the kind of Iron Max Headroom bit and reflecting back to that, and it was well enough done. But the thing was, on camera, he really did look the part. The camera moves in far enough, I guess, to sort of his body from the shoulders down was him, but coming on the stage looking like Mad Max, sorry, Max Headroom. Well, it's kind of an interesting sort of take. So while we're up here as well. That's a view of, I guess, the main stage from the audience. It's a bit the worst thing about taking pictures in the back is you get all the empty seats, whereas at the front they're all packed like sardines. It's it was crowded enough. Let's put it that way. Nothing special. Right. And what else have I got from this particular one itself? Well, I'm going to come down here. Oh no, this is the company we mentioned this a few weeks ago, a Meta company who, basically a company called Meta. I think if I'm careful, yeah, I've got a more zoomed in version here, right? They released a public thing. Hello world, we're a Meta company, original flavor, and they actually tell the story that Facebook had been trying to buy the name off them for some months, and they've been refusing the offer, and they didn't. They were trying to find out the client and the intent, which the lawyers who were offering didn't want to disclose. And I was at this point, they didn't even know it was Facebook who was trying. Two law firms involved or whatever. And in October, they got a phone call from Facebook attorneys, and they declined the offer again and maintained their own requirements. At this point, we presumed it was Facebook and identified them on the call. The attorney representing Facebook declared they would respect our existing rights and registration. On October 28th, 1 week later, Facebook decided to commit trademark infringement and call themselves Meta. The story, I believe, will be going on and on and on. And they're not actually the only company that have the name Meta, but I think they may be the only one so far that actually has a trademark on the name Meta, which really is going to scupper Zuckerberg's plans, I would have thought. Anyway, we will find out. Shapes. Just a slide here from Shapes XR. It's new software. I think it's just for the manipulating 3D objects and stuff in a 3D headset. The sort of creative tool. What's this one here? Oh yes, right. We have an article about this coming up later. Basically, they're using menthol and various other chemicals to actually create sensations of heat and cold, of course, in while you're wearing a headset. The chemicals are delivered into your forearm by that. Hang on, if I use my mouse, you might be able to see there this sort of thing around this. It looks a bit cumbersome. It looks like you're actually in hospital, to be honest, but that's how the chemicals get into your system. And there's obviously a chip and stuff in there. And they can be delivered to your cheeks, some as well. And there's a microcontroller pump and chemical reservoirs. Anyway, this is what the future big M is possibly all about. It's got to come to a few small M's first, hasn't it? And is it a nightmare or is it cool? Who knows? Who knows? These issues and more to be discussed later. Right. A new collaboration. Ready Player Me are these people, you go on the web and you take a photograph and they make an avatar for you, a bit like this range of avatars at the bottom here. They've got a new collaboration with a company called mywebAR.com. This basically is a web-based XR sort of thing, more augmented reality than anything else. But if you've got an avatar made with Ready Player Me, you can also import it into that. What I might as well call a world, because essentially in one way or another it's an immersive space, if nothing else. Right, moving down here, this is advance notice. The GamesBeat Summit, January 26 to 27. This is the second edition, which they're calling Into the Metaverse. They had one about this time last year. Absolutely no relation to what the God Emperor Zuckerberg goes on about. Although it is actually originally part of the GamesBeat and Facebook Gaming Summit. So there's an emphasis on gaming, but not totally, if you see what I mean. And when they started the strand into the metaverse last year, they really were clearly opening it up into uh, virtual worlds, immersive spaces, the kind of things that we would like to refer to as the metaverse, but have to restrain ourselves these days, don't we? Right, moving down here. Now, the other great thing, this board appeared at OR. Um, there are 186 women tech leaders all together at OR, which apparently is something of a landmark. I suspect there are still more males there, but I mean, as an actual landmark, apparently this was something. A lot of the women bloggers and presenters were going on about this and sort of posting photos. Oh, met somebody for the first time, and we've been in touch for ages, and whatever. And regardless of how repetitive some of the talk was and whatever, it's really interesting to see so many female founders in the space, as it were. And right, and this is not particular. Well, I suppose this could be. It's not particularly addressed to women, but it could be anyway. This is nothing whatsoever. Well, you could probably make your avatar do this, but this is actually just some real world advice that I popped up in the week. You know, if you're on Zoom calls and things, or in the real world, apparently this is a signal for help gesture, and you can see what's happening there. You would show the palm of your hand, you then move your thumb in like that, and then you bring your fingers down to cover it. So you display your hand, palm out, then close fingers over your thumb. They say it's a simple gesture, but it could save your life because it's basically anybody who doesn't understand it, they're just seeing that hand movement. They're not realizing it's a distress movement. You know, so it's not like help, help, verbally on a call or in the real world. They reckon it could be at least before it gets abused. It could be a de facto method of communication in difficult, if not horrendous, circumstances. So
I remember a recent story about a young woman who used that hand signal to
oh,
be rescued. She was being transported in a car against her will, and she used the hand signal to be
right.
rescued. Yeah.
Innocuous, really, for people. You
No,
know,
not an Oculus in the real world, but using the hand symbol.
no. I say it's innocuous in a way because it's invisible if you don't know what it means.
Ah, right.
And all the
Yeah.
people who will be kidnapping people or mistreating people, they're probably not the kind of people who would ever note these things. They'd
Right.
never commit the memory. It's like, you know, sort of, you know, criminals look for the shortcuts for what they do, but their mental headspace is not looking for, you know, they put a gag on somebody's mouth because they know they need to stop them screaming, but
Hmm.
they would miss something like this at least until it becomes much more recognised. So, you know, the difficulty is like anything else. The moment it becomes a kind of universal thing, then knowledge of it leaks out, possibly to places you don't
Right.
want. But for the moment, it seems to be becoming very effective and everything, as you said. So good stuff there. I thought
Hmm.
I ought to get that in, as it were. Right, just a
Mel,
few
are
little.
there loud noises in your vicinity?
No.
Oh, okay. I was hearing what I thought sounded like some loud sounds.
Oh
Interesting.
no, the music's off. Everything is
Okay. Okay.
deadly silent here.
All right. Very good.
So it must be coming from the interwebs.
Must be. Yep.
Something lurking in the interwebs there. Right, okay. So, a few more picture things first. Right, Facebook is now widely accepted, has been a calamity for the world. The obvious solution, most people would agree, is to get rid of Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg has a different idea. Get rid of the world. The real world, that is. Okay, well, had something to say for it there. Right. We are at best guess at least 5 to 10 years out from a fully fleshed out meta product or service, said Tim Dendra, a professor at Carnegie Mellon University's Tepper School of Business. He said what Meta, this is of course Facebook's new name here, was working on was akin to the computer game Second Life from the early 2000s, calling it a second shot at a Second Life-like service, but that is hopefully more immersive. I think somebody's missing the point there. I mean, Second Life has done all this stuff better than the dreamers are talking about at the moment. It's almost hearing people talking about, oh, we're going to have our metaverse and we're going to have our metaverse, all the small M's, of course. I don't think half of them have even heard of Second Life, let alone all the worlds that have come online since, like Open Simulator or Science Base, things like that. Anyway, moving on, another quote here. Be aware of the signal-to-noise ratio on metaverse content. You don't want to drown in non-important details like definitions of words. Just make cool shit and find people that like your stuff, and then you're on the right path. Which probably says it all, really. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, have I missed anything here? Oh, there's something. What was that for? Oh, another quote. As tech drives us apart, games and digital experiences can bring us together. It may, of course, not be that simple. Right. Okay. I didn't find the link for this, but basically, there's an XR platform called Deep Town. I have to check up on do a search and try and find it. But basically, as you can see in this was a tweet. It's a XR platform to create immersive spaces, share content, and collaborate in real time across desktop, VR, and AR headsets. The platform mixes all the extended reality paradigms in one interactive and endless metaverse. Shame about, well, it is a small M, you'll see. But yeah, something to check out. I think I can't report anything more about that, except that it is about sharing and collaborating, apparently, and it's immersive. So Deep Town, you have it there. Right, here we have more. November the 18th, this is about a week ago. This is going to be a VEG group, Virtual Events Group, VEG. The president of Vebela, he was a nice chap actually. I've spoken to him. He was with Philip and a few others in a thing in Vebela not so long ago. And Cassie Hackle, who is of course everywhere. Really, really everywhere. Basically talking at this thing, and it'd be on Zoom, so I can't tell you much more at this point. I've just got the poster, but if you look up Veg Group or Virtual Events Group in Zoom, maybe there's a way of subscribing to get the notice. The only thing I'm not quite sure about is that title. If you look carefully, I think that may be a typo rather than a redefinition.
I like it.
The
Metaverse?
Yeah. I think that it's two letters, so I think they may have maybe deliberate.
Well, it does say VEG Group. So is VEG the Vverse?
Well, it would be Meta Veg first then,
right? Even better.
Oh, wonderful stuff. Anyway, don't say we don't give you a fast notice for the big events. Talking of big events going on right now, actually, is VR Days Europe, which is happening over in Amsterdam. And, well, with everything else going on, I didn't really get there. Sorry, no, this is Immersive Tech Week. This is happening now in Amsterdam. It started yesterday and it's still going on to the 17th. It's a real world kind of event, and you have to go online to get tickets and stuff. But I'm sure if we look around, as I do anyway, we will eventually come across some video recordings and stuff like that. Amsterdam's a pretty thriving hub for things like that. As here in Britain, for example, London and Brighton are very big hubs for this new world stuff. I didn't recognize any names on this, which I was trying to do because years ago, back when everything was more or less Second Life, we actually held a conference. John McMahon of Virtual Island and others called MetaMes. And the first year it was in Ireland. That was very successful. And then some people from Amsterdam took it over and made a bit of a mess of it. But nevertheless, some of the contributors to it have been there from the first one in there from Amsterdam and stuff. So, well, anyway, I'm retro musing, aren't I? Which is not relevant to anything really. So that was that. Okay, there is a Google group of some sort called Bandwidth. I mean, it's actually associated with Google News and stuff like that. And there's something rather curious about that logo that seems to have appeared with their name. I guess it's probably different enough, especially with the other elements incorporated in it. But yeah, wonder how many variations we're going to see on that sort of symbol in logo.
I expect many.
Anybody who's got an excuse to fast. Okay. So finally, the last picture here seems to be another group shot. Oh yeah, this is VR Days in Europe. As I say, it was on the second day today, but this is a group shot of everybody there, basically. Not all the audience, but all the presenters, or at least presumably as many as were around by the second day. So it's a bit like an old school photo, isn't it? Loads of people there. I was snooping around trying to enlarge it a bit and see if I could spot anybody, but no such luck. But then again, it's nice to see, isn't it? It looks like they've done quite a nice job with that stage. We saw it here too, I guess. Oh, hang on, this doesn't make sense. Which is which? Well, actually, what I'm looking at is these wonderful little plants at the back side of the stages. I'm not sure which photograph this comes from, actually, whether it's Immersive Tech Week or whether it's from VR Days Europe. But nevertheless, it reminds me, years ago now, the Rolling Stones did a concert here in Hyde Park, not the free one from the '60s, but the major gig here, and there's a DVD of it. But what was remarkable, and it wasn't actually built by the Stones, actually, they just happened to be there to use it, was that the stage had been made, to look like two giant trees that were connected. It had this totally natural look. In fact, it looked more natural than most of the rest of the park. And they seem to have done, it's lovely when you see stages and things with like real, you can't call it rewilding, it's just an indoor stage, but nice greenery and stuff like that instead of the boring old vase of flowers or whatever. So that's nice. That is. Right, I had a feeling I have more pictures to show you, or quotes to show you, but I can't find them now. So I'm actually going to put this. No, let's get ourselves sorted out. Yeah, put that away first. There we are. So let's go back to some videos I've got around here. Ken Bai from Voices of VR. He hasn't published much this week, I guess, because he was at the All Conference. But this is just a little bit of footage of him playing around with a headset, and I'll play in sequence a few other things I've got here after it. So let's start with Kent Bai.
Turn the steering wheel, nothing's happening.
So we have the AR wall.
Update
where this is moving
using
here.
XR tracking. So here we have the Htc Vive, which we've written our
Nice.
own
Okay.
tracking component
And maybe you could put my
software
phone in here.
And as you move the Vive
And you could,
around, the perspective point for the virtual camera shifts to 1:6 ratio.
Okay.
So the effect that you get
And now-
from the camera's perspective is a consistent, complete, rich world behind the actor.
This is the AR wall.
Yes. So here's an example
Virtual
of
production.
what technology looks like when we're using it.
complex things start simple, and that's where we start. The universe is big, really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. Our desire to learn has brought us a wealth of knowledge about the world we live in, and drove us to study it in even greater detail for millennia. Thanks to the works of the great thinkers of the past and present, you can now sit back comfortably and enjoy the marvelous journey that's about to begin. Welcome to Neos, the Universe.
We see a future where we use technology to thrive as human beings, to build a better world, and to help people live richer and more fulfilling lives. And it's based on the idea that technology can draw people into the world, not isolate them from it. Unlike the sci-fi metaverse, the real-world metaverse will use technology to improve our experience of the world as we've known it for thousands of years, as a place of purpose, novelty, and community. At Niantic, we ask constantly how technology can nudge people to explore the outdoors, exercise, and engage with others. Can it connect us with public spaces we barely know, help us meet up with friends, or even find new ones? Can it help us discover magic, history, and beauty hiding in plain sight in the places we know and those we've yet to explore? Making this magic into reality starts with technology. Technology that connects the real world to a digital world, infused with data, information, interactive creations, and services. A metaverse.
The Lenovo Think Reality A3 smart glasses are versatile, true augmented reality glasses. They are lightweight, comfortable to wear, and very easy to use. I was gifted the smart glasses by Lenovo for review. They are powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR1 platform. The stereo displays have 1080p per eye resolution. The PC edition tethers to a laptop to enable up to 5 virtual displays. The Industrial Edition tethers to a smartphone to enable industrial augmented reality solutions. For the full specifications and my first impressions, please read my article on Medium.
At least there's the glasses rather than helmets. Okay, one more to go here, and then we'll be I go get them all out of the way. So, where are we? Open with this is from Unity, who oh, actually, I'll introduce this first of all. Unity, of course, along with Unreal, are probably the two leading what we call game engines, authoring platforms for virtual worlds games, etc., etc. But in fact, they've moved far beyond those two particular things, especially Unity, which is like a one-stop creation platform for almost anything you could throw at it. Unreal being slightly more richer kind of virtual experience. Unity is probably, I can't get to grips with Unity at all, but it's probably the easiest of the two. There's quite a learning curve required for Unreal, although the results are usually worth it. However, Unity actually bought Peter Jackson's company that did all the special effects for Lord of the Rings and things like that. I forget how many billions of pounds they paid for it, but they bought it this week, and it means they now have all the assets that were created by Jackson for the films and stuff like that. So this is an announcement that actually came from Unity, which sort of refers to that, in case you're wondering what it's referring to.
The new era of creativity is really, something bigger than it's ever been before.
Unity's really been focused on this mission that the world's a better place with more creators in it. But what we see now is that there's a new generation of creators that are going to want to, imagine even more in rich 3D experiences.
Avatar or Lord of the Rings or Wonder Woman wouldn't have been possible without Weta's tools and the great artists behind them.
We knew that digital effects offered so much possibility for us to be able to create the worlds and the creatures that we were imagining.
Now we're taking those tools that we have created and handing them over to Unity to market them for the entire world.
Well, together Unity and Weta Digital can create a pathway for any artist in any industry who will now be able to leverage these incredible creative tools.
Now those tools will escape the Weta world and they'll be available to everyone.
We see that being used in just about every industry you can imagine, from retail to medicine to film and TV and gaming, of course.
I think for a generation to come, Weta is going to be one of Unity's most important partners and probably our greatest source of inspiration.
Offering new and aspiring creatives access to Weta Digital's technology will be game-changing.
We're incredibly excited to continue that deep partnership where we work with them as they are working on their next movies, as they continue to sort of create. The real magic here is what both of us are each also independently great at.
What we do the best is when we make incredible VFX shots and animation clips for film and TV.
And we are going to be great at take all of that innovation and make it accessible to a much broader set of creators around the world.
Well, there we go. A curious little selection of clips there.
Did you hear the Wetaverse word in there?
Yes.
The Wetaverse. We have another one. The Wetaverse.
Well, actually, I don't know how to say this. I know there was Slim Warrior and me and a few of us. They were mostly women. Juicer was part of it in Second Life at one point, and I think it was part of NBC, Metaverse Broadcasting, of course, back in the day. And we actually had a program called Wetaverse, and it was rather naughty and obviously concocted largely by women. I hasten to add.
Okay.
But when I heard this expression, the Wetaverse, I kind of thought that if my recollection is right, we had two T's, as in Weta.
Okay.
And it was actually two T's ER first, but nevertheless, it still sounds the same. Anyway, oh dear, the things we remember going forward. Yeah. We did it all 10 or 20 years ago, folks. What's all this fuss about? Anyway, the clips you saw this week, I mean, it's worth bringing up a bundle of them, really. As you can probably tell, half of them probably came out as promotions to coincide with all the stuff happening this week, especially the All Conference. But all good stuff. Say hello to Marcus Llewellyn, who's in our audience again on YouTube.
Hey, Marcus.
Happy little trees, Bob Ross, he says. But then, yay, Iceland verse. That was a while ago. He's probably got bored by now and run away. That's too much. Sorry. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, we'll find out at the end of the week how many views we really get. It says I've got 6 viewers, so there we go. Right, okay. So moving on now to the boring old stuff that we usually do. And it's called the web pages, and we always start with this one. This is the Scar Ghost. Cue the music. Well, maybe it's not that musical, but you get the idea.
The Howling Ghost. The Howling Ghost. The Ghost Howls.
Tony Rutillo, and we saw his real life picture in some of those photos or earlier. Yeah. This is where we start every week. This is published on Monday, November the 8th. It's actually a look back at not the week we're about to look back on, but the week before that. But it's always a good roundup, and obviously if you go there tomorrow, you'll probably find that there's a new roundup, as it were, there. Anyway, you'll find this at scarghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com, and it's a regular weekly feature. We've got a couple of other links to his site with particular reviews coming up later. He's based in Italy, by the way, so he got on a plane to go to war in the US for, I think it's the first time he'd moved anywhere, basically, for 2 years. So that probably explains why he looks so excited in all the pictures. His news of the week, Teams integrating Mesh we had last week. Oh dear, him again. And Facebook wanting to open stores to sell kit with their branding. They're not going to miss a trick, that lot, or him. Anyway, it is a roundup of the week, and it is a week ago, so not much to say there. But if you want to catch up a little bit further back than normal, go to this. And indeed, just hang on to tomorrow and go to the site, and you'll have the latest roundup even before we can talk about it next week. You get me? Yes, of course you do. Right, okay. Move that item. Now, I don't know where James saw this. He and I are very keen on that. But apparently, this chap has now joined Sensorium on a permanent basis to co-create a virtual world and exclusive shows. Now, I think it was Vroom and a few others, but I remember them. I can't, who did the other ones last year, or maybe it was earlier this year. I think the Sensorium Galaxy may be a new thing. Also, I have a feeling that Sensorium Galaxy may be what we call a walled garden. But who knows? Who knows? Anyway, Jean-Michel Jarre, of course, is here referred to as the godfather of electronic music. Well, that's good. He's good, so I don't object to that. Godfather's a bit, well, come on, there were a few others around. Anyway, he's a Guinness record holder too, so what the hell. He's known for constantly pushing the boundaries of music and visual effects, and is now embracing a new challenge of creating immersive sound environment as well as delivering exclusive VR shows. As the co-creator of Motion, Jarre will be sound engineering the whole virtual world dedicated to mindfulness, helping build an immersive sonic environment that conveys a sense of presence through highly engaging visuals and sound. So, sounds interesting, doesn't it? Well, sound, yeah, never mind. Okay, something about a mysterious underwater land, presumably the beginning, where users can reinvigorate their mind and spirit with meditation practices and relaxing dance performances. Sounds like he's got a whole load of ideas for this. Anyway, read more about this one. Believe it or not, a very glamorous sounding site. It's called the Ritz Herald, RITZHERALD.com. And the Ritz Herald has got it. I don't know what that website is. It sounds like it's a magazine, maybe a showbiz magazine of some sort. Anyway, that's the news there, so you can read all about it, as they say. Moving on down, because we did use a lot of time on videos actually. Okay. Apple has a new way to battle internet bullies with its future VR headset. Now, I don't know that there's been any official announcement other than a bit of leakage from Robert Scoble and stuff about, just how far Apple are getting with their, VR headsets and stuff. As I understood, the augmented reality glasses will come before any headset, and they're probably a good 18 months away. But it seems that why they're referencing Apple, I don't know, but they're talking about a headset that might be able to make VR bullies literally disappear, preventing conflicts from escalating and protecting users in shared spaces. And I think this sort of method of control, so to speak, involves something that Apple themselves have trademarked, was handling internet bullies and trolls. If it's on the internet, they're there anyway. It's bad enough to have someone behaving aggressively in social media, but that might get so much worse in virtuality unless steps are taken to allow some way to block or mute a bully. And Apple have expressed a lot of interest. And closely related to VR. On the iPhone and iPad, you can get an AR app called Measure, which uses the rear camera, allowing the user to select objects and points in space to measure distances in 3 dimensions, and provide directions while walking. But this is just the beginning. Oh, it doesn't say how that relates to the issue at hand. But anyway, read more about this. Again, this is that sounds like a showbiz site. Screenrant.com. Yeah, they make them, don't they? A shortage of web names these days, I guess. Right, SCREENRANT.com for that particular article. And moving down now, you did in the video section earlier. We did show you the launch thing for Niantic. They're kickstarting their AR metaverse with the release of Lightship SDK and $20 million developer fund. Again, this tied in, I think, to a great extent with the All Conference, their choice of when to announce it. Basically, Niantic are known for Pokemon, or Pokemon Go, which was a world scale gameplay thing. And they basically want to attract third party developers into their platform and, do a whole lot of new stuff with augmented reality. They also, of course, did Harry Potter Wizards Unite, which is self-explanatory, I suppose, and a title called Ingress. Anyway, with an eye to the future of its burgeoning system, something the country is definitely calling a small M. Yep. And it notably brings the company real-time mapping technology, which allows developers to create multiplayer AR experiences for both Android and iOS mobile platforms. For now, multiplayer experiences can connect up to 5 players in a single shared space, but they expect the number to grow as developers push the boundaries. Okay, there got another video there, but we've played enough of them today, I think. Right, okay, well, read all about it at roadtovr.com here. ROADTOVR.com. And moving down, another great, another thing I really love this group, almost as much as Jean Michel Jarre, actually. They're called the Cirque du Soleil. And they're kind of a dance come circus troupe. They've been going for years, but they're very modern, with, it's not just old style acrobatics and stuff like that, and they use visuals and stuff like that. And I've got a whole load of DVDs of recordings of their events. But anyway, they're going to move into VR and holoportation, would you believe? Moving into the realm of digital magic with holoportation, they say. That's screenshots from YouTube, so I can't remember, but presumably I'll be able to find a YouTube clip about this at a later date. Anyway, all the fuss about Facebook's thing. This is no longer the realm of unfettered commercial activity. Social media become utility platforms and will need to be aligned with the common good and not just being developed to maximize profit for digital giants. Having said that, of course, I'm not an advocate for stopping technology. I'm just arguing for the proper use of them. This is clearly the writer of the article talking. Um, I don't know, maybe they could grab old Zuckerberg and stick him on a trapeze. I don't know. Anyway, oh yeah, Meta. Oh yeah, I think God knows what they're doing. The holding company of Meta is actually Meta Platforms Incorporated now. They've changed it again. A holding company is basically a vast company that is a way of holding all your subsidiaries together and making them subsidiaries in this case. So the Lord Emperor is using the brand name Meta, right, and logo, but they're actually officially called Meta Platforms Incorporated. But as I say, they're deemed business as Meta. Whether they actually have or stand a chance of getting a trademark on that is another thing entirely, as we saw earlier. Okay, they're now talking about. Now they're going on to Microsoft Mesh. Okay. So the headline here was Cirque du Soleil. They've partnered with Microsoft. And of course, Microsoft are the ones that have been using this phrase holoportation quite a lot with their headsets. You'll find this article, by the way, independentaustralia.net. Australia. Now, I'm not even going to read that one out. It's independent. I'm sure you can spell that for yourself. And Australia.net. What I will tell you is that Independent and Australia are squashed together, just like Mal Burns is on Twitter and elsewhere. Get the idea? IndependentAustralia.net. Or you can look at twitter.com/malburns and follow the link in my feed there, which often takes you to the Zat page, whereas just following the webpage link doesn't, you sometimes have to get to the front page and hunt. So another little plug for my feed there. Right. apnews.com, apnews.com. And the AP are the Associated Press. They're like Reuters. In fact, really, between them and Reuters, they're the press agencies that used to handle everything. Facebook's whistleblower, Francis Horgan, warned Tuesday that the metaverse, blah, 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 which heart of Facebook's strategy, will be addictive and rob people of yet more personal information while giving the embattled company yet another monopoly online. She was in Britain over a couple of weeks ago before the Cop Out conference and was giving evidence to Parliament here, as I believe she was doing to Congress and the States before that. But a lot of people are interviewing her because she is a mine of information, and especially the documents she's actually been turning over to lawmakers. But she's having her thing here about saying she's absolutely scared of what Zuckerberg is trying to do with his interpretation of the metaverse and his likely intent to make it a fully inclusive, system, a bit like a walled garden, just by sucking everybody into his vision rather than collaborating with other people in any real sense. So anyway, you've got a bit of reading to do about that one. You'll find it at apnews.com. Moving down the old list, and everybody's favourite graphics card manufacturer, NVIDIA. NVIDIA, of course, have launched a sort of small M of their own, but they call it the Omniverse. And this article is earlier in the week. They doubled down on software tools for crafting virtual worlds. Basically, as I understand, oh God, they refer to the M world again here, don't they? I think that's actually the author of the article. as I understand, the Omniverse and all this three-dimensional virtual worlds stuff will use a lot more computing power, in the future, and those will primarily come from NVIDIA's chips in the process. However, NVIDIA have a lot of partners in all the stuff they do. Lenovo, for example, and Dell, major computer things. They build powerful computers with NVIDIA chips in there. I don't think there's anything to say that um, it will be essential that you have an NVIDIA card or something in an operating system to actually get into their Omniverse. But clearly, they're pitching the toolset for Omniverse to help various apps create three-dimensional worlds. And such as software from Adobe, oddly enough, ADBE.O. Don't know what that's all about, but I'm not going to click it. Who knows where we'll end up. Anyway, Reuters told. NVIDIA had worked with more than 700 companies to test and develop the software, including firms like Ericsson and Wells Fargo. Anyway, read here a bit more about it. The article is actually fairly techy in the sense it references other tech companies and stuff, but to find out more, and there are links in there too. So this is actually published at Reuters.com as opposed to Associated Press. REUTERS.com. And again, to get to this app page, you're probably better off using my Twitter feed. Okay, moving down the list. And here we have a text article where I mentioned this earlier, and of course we showed a video which actually had Peter Jackson talking in it. Weta has created Oscar-winning VFX on Lord of the Rings and Avatar, of course, and all the Weta tech assets have been sold to Unity for 1.62 billion. That's a big B, as opposed to a small b, whatever a small b is, right? 1.6 billion US dollars. Yeah, forget the days of millions. Right. They've entered into the definitive agreement, so it hasn't gone through yet, to acquire Weta Digital, and they'll be paying in a combination of stock and cash. The companies said jointly. And but this is really a write-up of the official review. Again, we're in the old sort of I don't know glamour world, aren't we, or something? This is a Hollywood Reporter, big business there. HOLLYWOODREPORTER.com. And actually, it's kind of quite a small release anyway, but it's what you didn't get in the video, basically. The background information, so to speak. Now, here's a good one. This is a site called biotechniques.com. And the title of this article, at least the subtitle, is, wait for this, A Rat's Guide to Virtual Reality. Yep, they've been testing rats in virtual reality of VR maze to uncover specific neural mechanism behind navigation, offering an insight into the pathogenesis of neurodegenerative diseases. And actually, this was a really interesting article, but of course, you can't miss it when it's got a title like that. The actual title of the page is Understanding Navigation in Neurodegeneration with VR. The site you want is biotechniques.com. Again, use my Twitter feed to get to that point. biotechniques.com. And it's actually kind of fascinating what they're doing. And of course, rats have quite a lot in common with us humans, including getting Alzheimer's. So there you go. It's got all you got all the science here. Bit hard to follow if you're not into antagonists and MD, all the technical jargon. But you can still make head or tail of it. So go for that if you will. Biotechniques.com. Right. Moving down. This is a good one. This is you might expect this. This is a site called Lexology. And interesting, this one doesn't seem to have turned into a reader view for me. Naughty, naughty site. Right, okay. Well, the metaverse, the rise of the digital universe, blah, 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 the M world. Um, oh, hang on. Right, well, I think I know what's happened here. Since I actually went to get this the first time, I've now got the paywall come up. Oh, of course, I'm not. I'm not in my normal browser. Okay, this appears to be behind a paywall unless you've got a plugin that will get you past this, which my Safari here doesn't. Um, it's it is really just a bit more on lexicon and what the word means and stuff like that. So there's nothing on this page that is at all helpful. You'd actually have to get through to the main stuff, but all about the word, there really. And just in case you do want to pursue it, it's lexology.com. Right now, metaverse or realverse or realityverse, I don't know. Seoul, of course, capital of South Korea, will be the first city government to join the M word, or at least a small M version of whatever. This article is at qz.com. QZ, the two letters, that's all it is, .com. And City of Seoul, but virtual. It's hard to know the extent of their plans here. Basically, they've announced a plan to make a variety of public services, cultural events, and everything else that's available in a 3D mirror, I suppose, of the South Korean capital. An immersive internet that relies on virtuality. If the plan is successful, Seoul residents can visit a virtual city hall to do everything from touring a historic site to filing a civil complaint by donning virtuality goggles. You get the idea. I said earlier that a lot of people were just talking about oh, this would be possible, that would be possible, and we've been talking about this for 20 years. By and large, programs like Metanomics, which were held broadcast every week from Second Life, had different guests every week who really are, from companies that were on the cutting edge of trying to be involved in what was vaguely perceived as a metaverse, some of which have sort of disappeared, others have become big players. The idea of something like this is nothing new, but the news here really is that Seoul may be one of the first to actually do it for real. I mean, in Second Life, you have virtual Dublin, for example. You also have virtual Amsterdam as part of virtual Holland, and there's a virtual London, two virtual Londons, but they aren't in any way connected with the other than by association, the real locations. In other words, the square I live in here in Westminster in London is a couple of miles from Piccadilly Circus, which I'm sure everybody's heard of. In the virtual London, it's about a 2-second walk. The scale is not quite right on that front. So it's more a place for people in Second Life fancy being Londoners, so they become residents of the various stuff that's been built in virtual London, and they can also meet up in the pub in virtual London, and that can connect to a big screen in a real world pub here in London itself. So there's a bit of interaction going on, but it's not a mirror world. Even there is a mirror world whose name I've long forgotten. They're still around. You don't hear Twinity. That's it, Twinity. They are a sort of Second Life-y sort of world, but everything is built based on the real world location, and it's not easy to use. Every time you talk, you get a word balloon that hides the environment you're in, and they've got their own idea of doing things. Building a mirror world. So this has been tried in different ways, but Seoul and South Korea are a very leading nation in this sort of stuff, which is amazing when you think that they've got North Korea to right next door. Um, it will be nice to see something like this come online, wherever in the world it is. I think we're and London, New York, these are big places. I mean, it would take a lot of work to actually create mirror things there. But if you take big cities that are actually small geographically, it could be the start of something. I mean, the idea that I can go online and I can trot my avatar down to the offices of the local council, take my avatar in, and then sort of do stuff. It's quite attractive. In reality, it will have to be it'd be a long way before something like that is as intuitive and as workable as going to a website and filling in a form there. You know, but some people are never going to want to use avatars. I'm reminded before I go down the rabbit hole completely. There's a bank. In fact, they're my bank, Santander. They're a Spanish bank, but they're a big one in the UK here. Um, they had some ad. They had a TV ad going a long while ago. Not recently, actually, not a long while ago at all. And I've been trying to find a copy of it. I'm sort of actually waiting for it to come on the television set and recording it there. I haven't found it anywhere online. But they start off the ad. There's a comedy. I can't remember. A comedy couple, two guys. Well, they're supposed to be funny. They're boring as hell, actually. But they, have a TV show, and they become avatars, and they go into this virtual bank. And they start off the whole advert by this is the great thing. We're going to take our avatars into Santander Bank. Oh, Anton Deck they're called, because they're called the Bank of Anton Deck. Slowly as they do it, it gets more and more chaotic. And they in hysterics, and basically the messaging they're conveying is that if you actually want to use our bank, come to our website. That virtual world is just not right for the job. So, and this is very much the case. You can't think of virtual reality as being the solution to everything, however fanciful you might be. And if you go back to Snow Crash, where Stevenson actually originated the expression the metaverse, absolutely everything was in there. You had to use an avatar to navigate the real world, as it were, in its virtual equivalent. And it's dystopian, really. There will always be things that cannot be replicated virtually. And I think the dreams of some of the early small M first things found that out the hard way. Anyway, I'm going to move on because, as you know, I'm prone to drifting away verbally. Right. Okay, this is a site called EurasiaReview.com. Yeah, EurasiaReview.com. EurasiaReview. And this report says the metaverse is Big Brother in disguise. Freedom meted out by technological tyrants. This is an editorial, as you can put on op-ed, as you can see. Once again, sort of Lord Emperor Zuckerberg has got the world talking, hasn't he? And possibly not in the way he originally thought they would be. That's an interesting picture, actually. Are those what Zuckerberg's avatars are going to look like? I don't know. Right. Welcome to the Matrix, where reality is virtual. Freedom is only as free as one's technological overlords allow, and artificial intelligence is slowly rendering humanity unnecessary, inferior, and obsolete. Mark Zuckerberg sees this digital universe as the next step in our evolutionary transformation from a human-driven society to a technological one. Oh, help us, please. I mean, technology is a tool, right? It's utility. Um, a lot of criticism. People jump into games and they play the games for hours and hours, and they're addicted to them, and it is their world. Everything, including virtual worlds that I see on the web or on the internet, greater internet, is utility. Technology and the electronic world is utility for us, particularly for collaboration, long distance communication, and in the case of virtual worlds, presence and to a certain extent, empathy. Um, it's an add-on to our real life, right? However many smart toys, you've got smart fridges, so you're going to have smart bars, smart toilets, but you're still going to have to go and use them. You still got to eat. In other words, go to the fridge. You still got to wash, and you got to get in the bath. The virtual world is not going to help with that. Well, maybe Zuckerberg's world is going to help with that, but I haven't figured out how that one's going to work yet. You know, the utility, it's a tool, I spend a lot of time online, but I'm doing news, virtual worlds, I'm doing a whole load of different things. My computers are my tools. Just as a plumber will go out with a bag full of things he does to manipulate pipes when he's fixing people's plumbing, tools of the job, so to speak. The more things you do, the more tools you can get online. There's something for everything. But none of these things are total, if you see what I mean. So, anyway, another one to read here. As I said, EurasiaReview.com. EurasiaReview.com, or try twitter.com/Mal Burns for the old shortcuts. Right. Okay, quick roundup on all, of course. AR Post here, arpost.co. Basically, did a roundup of each day. I won't say more than that. Actually, arpost.co. This was day 2. More in the metaverse, of course. Well, it was all more or less about the metaverse, except some of the augmented stuff. Various sort of roundup here. Snapshots of some of the sessions. Oh yeah, well I've recorded that panel actually. That's the Unity panel. Tony Parisi, by the way, of course. He is from Unity these days, although he's known for much more. Race to build the metaverse. There's Charlie Fink. Just, I love the way he's just opposed against the screen at the back there. It looks like he's wearing a headset that's sort of elevated itself. Sorry. Oh, well, aren't pictures great fun, eh? Safety in the metaverse here. That was another. I didn't see this one. This was obviously not a main stage event. So there's various stuff covered here. And the expo itself, of course, which also you could get to the people on the stands, but you couldn't get to see the stands in the online, the virtual versions. So anyway, a load of stuff there, and another one, same site, arpost.co. This is day 3, and let's see, I forget what's. Oh, I don't recognise that one. I don't know. That might have been a side stage. I tend to think of that backdrop as being characteristic of the main stage, but emerging tech. Oh, there's Kent Bai actually making it to the stage there. Yeah, if you know his podcasts are like, you know what his writing is like. But I mean, he's a motor mouth. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way at all. Very articulate, very understandable, but you didn't get a moment's rest from him. He was getting as much into that talk over the course of 50 minutes, I think it was, as he possibly could. And he timed it perfectly. I think he was 30 seconds over his time or something. Absolutely fascinating. If that talk does not come up online any other way, I shall try and put it somewhere, my own version. Oh, good old Vroom. Anybody remember Vroom? We had a sound effect. Oh! It's still there. We have the sound effect because, like Skull Ghost, Room was actually a website. But they are now, just a social VR and fidgetal. Oh, James, right. I got to come up with some corny thing about you fiddling with nods. Maybe
Oh,
you're fidgetaling.
okay.
Okay, what does that mean?
Fidgetalis.
Yeah, something like that. Social VR and fidgetal experiences with. Okay, the phygital revolution, virtual and hybrid experiences. So physical, and the digital is digital. Oh, yeah, I see, phygital, physical, physical, digital, but it's not. It, okay, another new word, folks, and this one begins with a P, not an M. Okay, now come back. The big question here is it possible to have a phygital metaverse? Or is a metaverse by its very nature phygital? Or is phygital things by their very nature the prototyping of a metaverse? This and other philosophical questions will not be answered in the near future, at least not by me, but they're worth commenting on. Pin screen on the future of avatars. Oh, I missed this one. Obviously, of course, this was on West Coast time, so I tended to catch all the stuff that was in the British evening, before, midnight or whatever. So I imagine there'll be a lot coming up at some point. Okay, Odin Takahashi there. Okay, well, as you can see, arpost.co, arpost.co is the place to go for these roundups. And there was, I haven't got it here, but there was a roundup of day one as well at some point. All right, vrscout.com, another regular site for us. Researchers are using menthol to simulate cold weather in VR. Now, earlier on, when I was doing our picture post, or pics and pieces, whatever we're calling it, I showed you this picture anyway. The idea is delivering chemicals into the body, either via the cheeks or via the forearm, and it was pump and chemical reservoir. That's the back of it. That's a pump and a reservoir of chemicals. it has some bolt to the helmet, doesn't it? All interesting. They say the future of VR haptics could be skin chemicals. I don't know. I mean, I certainly think that smell will be the next. We've got sound and vision already. I'm sure there'll be ways of bringing smell in if it be like around 3D printers. Why don't we have aromatic, aroma printers? I'm sure all that is coming and could be synchronized to virtual environments, so that if you log into a virtual world and you're walking in the woods, you will be you'll get a chemical mix that makes you think of wood and the smells of the wood stuff. Taste, I don't know. I can't see that coming in the near future, although I know people have tried it by selling things that you eat while you got your headset on to give you I don't know, you just eat normally, you don't need a headset to eat, do you? Anyway, this is more to do with heat and cold and things like numbness, stinging and tingling, and they want to use the chemicals to simulate those sensations. Why not? This looks too cumbersome, but there may be medical reasons and stuff like that to do that, to treat people with sensory deprivation or something like that. Or I don't know. For example, could chemicals on your forearms sort of make your brain numb to certain pain in your body and stuff? But I think that goes beyond VR as such. It would simply be a matter of merging technologies. Medical technologies with VR. Anyway, right, that's at vrscout.com, vrscout.com. Moving down, back to roadtovr.com again here. Varjo's unique masking tool lets you bring the real world into VR. This is something I should have got hold of this video. Um, Never mind. They previewed this at all. Varjo Lab tools are a soon-to-be released Office software suite that will work with the XR3 mixed reality headsets. The tool will allow users to trace arbitrary shapes that then become windows into the real world while the rest of the view remains virtual. All I can think of, let's say, I mean, when I fairly early on in Second Life or in OpenSim, I like to build a house for myself or get one and decorate it, basically. And, all I had to do is make 4 vertical brims, rectangular brims, thin, for the walls, and I one for the roof, and I one for the floor. Now, obviously, that's just a cubicle. It's actually 6 brims making up the outsides of a cube. You can do it by hollowing out a big cube, and it has a slightly different effect. The thing is, you then want to sort of just... you don't always have the tool. There are ways around it, but you don't always have a tool that can allow you to walk up to that single prim wall and carve a hole in it where you want the window. Yeah. Now, in fact, you can in Second Life and OpenSim. You can do that. There are tools that allow you to hollow out the prim to do that effect. But what this promises, the Varjo Lab, is that let's say you've got an augmented reality or virtual reality house you're in. You would be able to go up to a wall and carve out a window. Yeah. And through that window, you would see a scene of the real world, even though the rest of you is in an avatar inside a virtual house. Or the extent of it all could be completely the other way around. You could, you could have minimal amounts of VR and literally carve out the areas that you want to be the real world. So, we get this in art. I mean, I remember an elementary thing I used to have to teach for people learning Photoshop was remember masking tape and stuff like that, the way you did it in the old days before we had computers. Well, you have to learn to do masking to, separate things apart and mix things together. This sounds to be exactly the same sort of thing, where it differentiates between reality and the virtual or the augmented, simply by giving you tools to mask out the areas that you want to be real and the areas that you want to be not fake but virtual. That's the best I can do for now without starting a whole lecture, and I haven't used it, so I don't want to say too much in case I'm getting it all wrong, but it's pretty self-explanatory from Ben Lang's article here that that's what's going on. So you can find this at roadtovr.com, roadtovr.com. Now, another odd-sounding website. This is actually called Unsound Studio. So if you want to go here on the web, use UNSOUND dot. And then after the dot, you just want to use the word studio, STUDIO. That is the suffix. Unsound.studio. And this is somebody talking about a project that they've got going on GitHub. Miss Livy Rose is her name, and I think it's a she. Fairly well known around in what we call the M word, be it a small or a big one. A lot of discussion about the M word right now. Rebranding efforts, significantly increased investment, the promise of decentralized non-fungible tokens in maintaining economic equalities through artificial scarcity. The concept of M is a mirror to our own sense of security within our own physical world. No wonder we're so enthralled by this at this point in time, etc., etc. So it's like a little essay here, really, which I found interesting. I like the idea she just calls it the metaverse as a mindset. It's obviously coming from somebody who's been in there enough to consider it to be a mindset. That mindset is the desire to constantly be exploring, creative, influencing, and connecting with ourselves, other people, and our environment. That is the mindset of the M, and it exists outside of any platform or company or any specific technology stack, which I think is well put there. So, unsound.studio there, and of the fast book. Right, another bit of opinion here. Facebook's ridiculous new ad reveals its vision of the metaverse. Is everything wrong with the company? This came in today. I forget where it was. There was some event. It wasn't a Super Bowl, but something. There was something on American TV where Facebook ran an ad yesterday, I believe, and it hasn't gone down well at all. People are saying, "Hey, what the hell are they on about? What are they doing?" If your goal is to sell people on your vision of the future, you should be clear, first of all, what it is you're selling, basically. Ground vision for your company is that people will spend hours a day wearing headsets, living and working virtuality. You're going to need some headsets to sell to them. Arguably, the best headset for consumers, at least, is the one made by Facebook, basically. Technically, it's made by Meta now, but it's still Facebook, despite the company's efforts to make you think otherwise. Blah blah blah. If you want to be able to buy headsets, as Facebook definitely does, you do what the companies do, and you make an ad. That's exactly what Facebook did, designed to highlight their Oculus thing. In it, okay, we're going to get a description here. Okay, two men are apparently neighbours, but have no idea. In fact, they don't even like each other in real life, demonstrated by a closing scene where they yell at each other for making too much noise through a wall. In the game, however, they're both teammates and friends. They even complain about their bad neighbours, again, not realising they're actually referring to each other. The ad is meant to be humorous, of course, but it's not. The real problem is that Facebook, which now calls itself Meta, but it's still the same company, is with all the same issues, thinks this is a good representation of why you'd want to put on a VR headset and jump in the metaverse. If that's the case, it's a brilliant example of everything wrong with the company. Here we go again. You know, I should do an encyclopedia of articles that disapprove of Facebook's current. Whatever. Anyway, you can get the direct link via my Twitter feed, but otherwise, the site here is inc.com, inc.com. And actually, if you go there, today, 14th, 15th November, you should find it on the front page easily. But, you know, direct links are available on my Twitter feed. And that's actually it for the web pages. And I'm now moving on to my sort of video storage feed, as it were. Interesting videos, one for another. Again, you can click through to these from my Twitter feed, or you can actually go independently to my Mastodon feed, which is Mastodon, MASTODON social, SOCIAL, and then / Metaworld, just as with our show here, basically. So, quite a lot of stuff here, so I'm just going to quickly go into it from here. Metaverse will cost you your soul. The first TV app explains with reasons. Got to refresh my memory. So this is a 10-minute one.
This invention marked the end of humanity. Slater, that's a bit dramatic. No, it's not. Facebook has changed their company name to Meta. Microsoft just announced their own metaverse as well. This is both of these companies' main focus right now, to get you sucked into the metaverse. And I assure you, with more certainty than anything I've ever been sure of, once you get sucked into it, you will lose your soul.
Now, when I first saw this one, I thought, is this a religious, you know, because it goes on a bit like this, and I thought, is this one of those religious people? who sort of go say, God doesn't approve of the metaverse. But no, it's a great little piece, and obviously this guy's got his head screwed on. I think he realizes he's over exaggerating in many ways, but why not is what I say, because if the danger's there, make it bloody obvious. Okay, as with all these, when you get there, you can click through down here on the title, and it will take you to YouTube, where you'll be able to, well, you can obviously watch it here, but if you want to subscribe or check out details about who the poster was, then you can get to YouTube by clicking on that. The next one down the line is the future of work, remote versus office debate. And this was a program called Philosophy Friday, number 6, in fact. So this was on Friday, needless to say. And it was a debate. This was quite a long one, I think. It's an hour and 12 minutes. And
if you're working for someone who doesn't know what you're doing, like clearly you could be doing whatever. And I think the other thing that his kind of become apparent with remote work is that when you're in an office, you have essentially a controlled environment. Everyone has a uniform, consistent working environment. But when you shift to work from home or remote work, you've got all sorts of different situations, right? So you've got, I've got my own home office. I can kind of work, close the door, but not everybody has that kind of situation. And so when
Okay. Don't want to spend too much time. Basically, the idea in clicking these is to give you a rough idea of the personalities involved on the show and what's going on. That debate is, and it is a debate. There, one's advocating, one's against, whatever. Interesting sort of conversation there. So really, all I'm giving you is a sort of teaser of what they sound like, by jumping into the middle. Okay, Between Realities is out again this week, episode 11 of season 4. Robin's Reality, Between Realities podcast. Robin's Reality is the guest on the spaceship. When it happens... Oh, hang on. Okay, I'm getting my programs confused. Here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite VR podcast, Between Realities VR podcast, here on the home of everything Between Realities.
Right, I'm just going to skip through a bit to see if I can get to the guests coming in. The intro, it's quite wild, actually, but until you see their normal stage.
Boom, on the Between Realities ship. It's great to have you here with us.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. How's it going?
It's going really good. And first thing, before we get into anything, I have to say I'm admiring your attire right now. Like, I can look at this. PD, do you see this, bro? Look at that, man.
Representing the Paradise Decay.
Did you know that you can also own your very own piece of authentic Paradise Decay merchandise by checking out Paradise Decay on YouTube and following his links there?
Yes.
Go do that.
And watch his content because...
Okay. Anyway, another chat. Again, they are... Between Realities is a great name, but they do swing towards actual VR in terms of helmet wearing. And but actually, they don't really swing that much towards games, at least in a sort of philosophical way. But the reason I collect these is because they're worth listening to. They're serious people. There's nothing worse than these videos of people playing a game or with their friend. Hey, go, what is this? Oh, yeah, oh, whack it, oh, God, insanity. But when it's serious talk, about often the platforms themselves that they're in, interesting. Okay, moving down. This is another one. This was kind of from the Wall Street Journal, oddly enough. And again, you can get it on YouTube.
And the best way to understand the metaverse is to experience it yourself.
definitely don't feel very well right now. And you wouldn't feel well either if you attempted to spend 24 hours living in virtual reality or the metaverse. Don't know what the metaverse is? That's okay. I'm not sure anyone really does. But Meta, formerly known as Facebook, Microsoft, and more, are defining it as the virtual world that is the next phase of the internet. In this world, we have digital versions of ourselves, or avatars.
And we call this the metaverse.
Oops. Okay, so as I say, that comes from the Wall Street Journal. It's 7.5 minutes, really. I mean, I could play it here, but I'm not going to. But, you know, it's not going to take you much time to play that one. A good, you know, it's editorial, of course, and somewhat cynical, as are so many discussions these days. Okay, now this one's a wee bit different. This is actually the launch video for Masterpiece Studio Pro's software, if I recall. That's just, I think it plugs into Unity or something. Oh, what did I just do? Okay, well, the site here is Masterpiece Studio, by the way, since we're now here. Okay, well, you know, it's only 2 minutes, but what the hell. It's described as a fully immersive 3D creation pipeline, a suite of professional, intuitive, and easy-to-use immersive tools made for creatives, artists, designers, and illustrators that have always imagined a world beyond the monitor. And their take on this really is, well, I guess, I haven't tried it, but I guess it's not Unity, but I think that the gist here is that it's considerably easier to use. In other words, it's pitched to help you do, you know, the simple things in terms of world building as an alternative to the heavy learning curve of things like Unity. Right, where were we 3 days ago? See, I said look a lot this week. Oh yeah, this is the right. This is the CEO, John Hanke at Nicantic. This is actually one of the few recordings I've got up so far.
Be there if they didn't sponsor us. So
from OR, and basically
stage right now, and you guys are at the center of that universe. So I think you're at the right place at the right time. Applause to you.
Right. Interesting stuff. We saw on the other videos about Nicantic and stuff and what they're doing. Very interesting indeed. This was one of the actual keynotes at all on the main stage, and the running time I see here is 35 minutes. So it's probably one of the ones that had it truncated the ending or the beginning or something. Most people ran to time, but not all. I can't remember whether John did or not. Okay, so that's that one. More 3 days ago. Okay, this actually is OR, but it's all night in Amsterdam, and actually this is this goes back to November the 2nd, so it's not actually this week. But while I was thrashing through all the pieces to do with OR, I came across this one and thought, hang on, I don't think I've seen that or collected it, so I stuck it in the feed here.
Environments, and we'll be wrapping up with Alexandra Petty helping your end users embrace XR. So it's basically a recorded. They call it the all night, but basically it's a Zoom call that they've recorded as an all night in Amsterdam. And why not? Why not do it that way? It's a good idea. Okay. God, these are all still 3 days ago. Hurry up, he says. Right, this is Next Dimension podcast.
So I think this video is like...
Right, they're looking at the Vive Flow, amongst other things. Something about micro OLED and featuring atom bomb body. God knows what that is. This is not one I watched all the way through. But again, there's a lot of sort of gaming type stuff in here.
One of the VR videos
ever, one of the biggest VR videos ever, and it helped both Beat Saber and also helped Live. I would like to ask you, what is your go-to headset right now? The headset that you like?
Okay, you get the idea. They're talking about headsets. So that's 2 hours long. So I don't think it's all about headsets, but quite frankly, a lot of it is, they're boffins. They're techie boffins. I don't know what the word is. Okay. Now again on Friday, somehow Charlie Fink did actually manage to do one with his partner Ted, and their guest was somebody called John Snoddy. He obviously did it fitting in with all.
Which is essentially why there is so much energy and so much money and so much resources being poured in from these large, what I refer to as tech-utainment companies now, that all your vision of the future, right?
I love that.
That is actually a good point. I mean, tech-utainment. So many of the all presentations and things were this kind of what they're just called tech-utainment, the actually it wasn't the biggest attended, but to me, vaguely, one of the major keynote things was Marvel. It wasn't actually Marvel. Well, it was some division of Marvel who are basically working on augmented. They're like escape rooms, but they feature virtual versions of the superheroes and stuff, and so. Sort of mixed reality thing, but probably more virtual than mixed. But yeah, what's it called again? Tech-utainment.
The other thing I heard yesterday, which I loved, I don't know if you were there. I was talking to one of the guys from what's the name of the company that does the entertainment inside of cars? Yeah, HoloRide, right? Chris, yeah, HoloRide. So they said they were working on the Holoverse or the Motorverse. Yes.
They have as much fun with the Watchamaverse as I do. Very interesting. I'm just trying to get where the hell is their guest? Oh, hang on, probably there.
The things that you don't even notice, the way the colors work to deal with your perspective, and it's pretty insane, the obsessive detail that goes into creating that feeling.
Right, okay. You can watch it, of course, yourselves, especially now you know where to go and get it. It's just short of half an hour long, and this week in XR on YouTube, but you can play it here as well, or click through, whatever you want to do. Always a good listen, that one. Okay, this is the Unity CEO.
When we look across sort of the gaming metaverse, leading players include Unity, Roblox, Take-Two, Epic, but valuations still all over the place. How should investors value companies in this early but growing category?
Look, I'm not sure the metaverse is exactly a category, but I would say that, look, when you think about the metaverse, I think most people are talking about is Web 3.0, but instead of being in a 2D presentation, it's 3D, it's real time, it's interactive. And, companies that make games, whether it's Roblox or, it's Activision, those are going to be important destinations in the theme park we're going to call the metaverse or Web 3.0. Where Unity participates is in the content creation for that. So more than 50% of everything that is real-time 3D in the world, that new metaverse thesis, is built in Unity, whether it's
there we go. Yeah, so that was a news report at CNBC, and it tied in with the announcement of Unity purchasing Peter Jackson's company there. But obviously they're looking at it from almost a business point of view. Another place that likes giraffes. That should be Maria. No, sorry. Right, moving down. Qualcomm, right? Snapdragon have announced. Qualcomm Snapdragon Spaces have made an announcement here. We better play this one to get it. Okay, we get the idea. It's only a minute there, so what the hell showed you all? Another feature, they're glasses. It's not a helmet. You've only got to look at them wearing them there, and that looks like what I would be fairly. Let's go back a bit. Yeah, there we are. I would be fairly happy wearing those, I think. Obviously, they plug into a phone or something. A Snapdragon, of course, Qualcomm Snapdragon is a processor, isn't it? So, not quite sure that fits in. But again, it was one of the announcements of the week. And when I start seeing things like this, I begin to get more enthusiastic about eyewear, shall we say. Okay, now, in order first about ore and all that stuff, we are not forgetting that the regular programs have been up again this week, of course. 5 days ago, it says 5 days ago, I think it's more like 6. So it was early in the week anyway, the VR download, which on Twitter is, on YouTube, you'll find it Upload VR, but the show's called VR Download. And it's the regular show. They were looking at Meta, of course, Project Cambria, which is another headset or helmet or something that the Zuckerberger's working on. Horizon Home, again, more Zuckerberger stuff. And then they're looking at mixed reality and something called Nazir glasses. So it's, I'll just tell you.
Yeah, we could put the show up here on Stevie and watch it while we're doing it.
I can't. Oh, this is funny.
Right? No. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of VR Download, a weekly show broadcast live.
That's pretty good. Okay.
Thank you. Broadcast live from the Upload Virtual Studios, where we bring you all the latest news, reviews, comments, and interviews, and blah, blah, blah. Hello, I am your host, Kyle, and we've got a fantastic show for you today. Over here...
God, they have as much chaos as me, really. Now, hang on, I need to check something here. Oh, God, which is which? Okay, if you remember last week, I missed one. We couldn't find it. So I said I would put it up.
No.
When I found it. Now, there are actually two side by side here. I think the first one is this week's. And I think the one following it is the week before, which I dug up and put in there, basically. So two weeks worth was at the same time there. No, isn't it November 7th? I'm just checking my dates here. Where are we today? This must be... Right, okay. I think we got as far as we need to here. There was an introduction to all, which I think I shared last week. And I'm not sure about that, but it's a minor one. So you'll find a Mastodon, of course, that whole list. It's nice to know. It's quite a nice full week there. But I'm looking at our clock and I see that we're about to hit the 2-hour mark on this week's show.
30 seconds, right.
Yeah, so much for getting it down to size. But then again, I think we've done a good one this week. You've had videos, you've had snapshots, you've had the whole bloody works, and we've still got one highlight to go, and that is, well, James, what do you think?
I don't know. What?
No, any thoughts on?
Me asking a question. Oh, I was waiting for one other thing.
Any thoughts before we? No, that's Tim Cook's thing, or Steve Jobs originally.
Oh, okay, all right.
One more thing, James time.
Yeah, well, I was just, Upload VR, they do that games cast on Thursdays. Yeah. They did another cast, and it was it was interesting because you had a slide up at the very beginning of the show in the pictures part of I believe it's called Sculpt XR. And I wasn't sure if you were going to cover that, but it was interesting because it is a collaborative building environment in VR, and I was trying that out this weekend, and it's it looks very interesting. It's that's the thing we've been missing that we love in OpenSim and Second Life is building together and building in real time, And so
Yeah.
it looks really promising. And anyway, Upload VR folks did a very nice profile with a woman from the developers talking about the program and their journey to get it into a multi-user environment. So very cool.
Okay, I'll try and check that out and add it to the reference list here, because I use this for referencing and stuff. I am familiar with what you're talking about. One way or another, I saw an announcement, and I think, I don't know, there might have been something at all about it, because a lot of people were promoting stuff. So yeah, I was quite excited when I saw that too. So given that I didn't think we have a webpage announcement there. Maybe it's yeah, I can't click on everything that I do in the week to get it into this show. Well, it would last a week, wouldn't it? It'd be like
right.
real time desktop working. Yeah, I would try and find that. No, that does sound. Do you know if it's only helmet based, or do you know if it's got an interface that can work on flat screen as well?
I don't know. I feel like it's helmet based. Because it has tools that were very specific to having controllers and being able to look at what you were doing. But we could look into it.
Yeah, I will do. Okay, I'll get some final words from Marcus too. He's still with us.
Shapes. The program is Shapes XR, not Scarlet.
Oh, right. Okay.
Shapes XR.
Yeah. That was the one. Yeah, I thought I think on my Twitter feed there are probably something I missed putting up here for the show, but there'll be something on that. The difficulty this week is like when you're at a conference and things like that.
Right.
You're looking at stuff live and you're taking a lot in, and it may not be stuff that I've got a ready-made press release to Twitter or whatever. So yeah, interesting week really, and yeah. Marcus is shrieking, saying, "Oh my God, not my soul." Cameras already steal my soul a bit at a time, darn it. Sympathise with that one, I suppose. Right, okay. So, if nothing else from you?
Nope.
And nothing else from me, you'll be pleased to know. I haven't found a new rabbit hole to jump into before the show closes, so I should be very careful. Putting my feet in there. Yeah, no rabbit hole there. No rabbit hole there. I'm sure I forgot something, but there we go. Okay, so it's goodbye from...
Goodbye.
him.
And it's goodbye from him.
So it's goodbye from both of us. That makes two. One upon makes two. And we two are one because XR, VR, MR, we are.
We are.
Yeah, I don't know what. Now the French may find that funny. We are. Yes, are. Never mind. Yeah, okay. We'll see you next week, folks. We'll be back same time, same place. And of course, you can watch this program whenever you want via my Mal Burns account at YouTube. Anytime you want. During the week or even next year or next century, possibly, if the planet still exists by then. And yeah. Stay safe, everybody. Stay indoors. The weather is getting colder. The virus is spreading worse than it ever has for actually even the beginning. It's only the vaccine that means we're not still in lockdown, I think. Stay safe. Stay inside. Work from home. Don't take any risks that you don't have to. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That's what R says. Okay. That's it for this week, folks. Thanks for watching, and that's it for now. We'll see you later. Bye. Yeah.